Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to teach you how to service this Mistral Gyro Aire cooling fan / Mighty Mini. Now these are the same fan, so it doesn't really matter if they come apart in the exact same way. But it says Mighty Mini there and cooling fan there. The only difference is some of them don't say Mighty Mini down the bottom, it just says cooling fan. So yeah, I'm going to teach you how to take it apart, clean it and put it back together, because there's no tutorial video on YouTube of these and I own a fair few of them, so let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I like to start with is obviously unplugging the fan. You will need a Phillips head screwdriver and a flathead, potentially a pair of pliers. However, it depends on the blade because there's two different style blades. So in here there's actually a Phillips head screw. You want to remove that all the way, and then the thing should just come out, if you undo it enough, that is. I remember doing a video a couple of years ago of how to service a GA16-70, which I plan on redoing that, and I'm going to do a slimline as well. So you just want to keep the screw in there just so we don't lose it, and then this should just pop right off. However, you'll see it has 3 tabs. Those align with these little notches. They slide into place over like so. So we'll go through that when I put it back together. Either way, it's a little bit dusty. I just got this thing today for $10, so this is the first time pulling it apart. I know it works. It's a bit slow, but it's mostly for the collection, so it doesn't really matter. Right, now that we've got that off, we can spin it around to the front. I mean the back, sorry. Now, there is... I'm pretty sure there's 3 screws, but I don't know, never mind, there's only 2. The old ones have 3. So, one top, one bottom. You want to undo those. Now, the cage won't fall off, so... And it doesn't matter if the screw falls in, I guess. And the bottom one. Okay, once you have the screws removed, you take your flathead screwdriver and poke it into the groove where one of the cord holders are. Just want to gently pry it. It might take a little bit, just like that. Now, you can either do it to all the sides, or you can just go down here a little bit, and it should pop. Should just pop straight off. Sometimes they are a little bit finicky, so we'll go over to this one. Just pry it out gently like that. And there we have it. That's how it comes off, nice and easy. Here's all the model details of my one. They're about, I think it was 100 watts or so. And as we can see, we have a flathead screw. So we're going to undo that. Alright, now we're going to undo the flathead screw. So as you can see, what I mean by some would be a bolt. They don't have the accessible bit for a flathead blade. It has to be taken off with a pair of pliers or a socket wrench. But I'm pretty sure that's the earlier cooling fan models. So we're going to put the screw away with that so we know where it is. And then we should just be able to pull it off. However, in the event it doesn't come off, it's a bit more difficult. Alright, now we've got the blade off and camera falling down. Just for a bit of fun, we're going to remove the pin, because the chances are it falls out anyway. So we'll just put that over there with them. And here's the blade. As you can see, a little bit dirty. And the motor's a bit dusty as well. However, I'm not happy with that copper strand there, so we're going to ever slightly push that back in so it doesn't short on anything metal, because metal obviously conducts electricity, so we just don't want it to short against anything. So we won't have it touch the coils, but we won't have it touch the outer casing. Anyway, that's pretty dirty, so we're going to go ahead and clean it. The first thing I'm going to do is gently just brush off some of the dust. That way the cloth doesn't get too clogged with the amount of dirt and debris that will come off. Just be careful you don't touch the windings, because it will wreck them, and then your fan will not work properly, or at all. So you don't want to shove this into there. Just want to go over it nice and lightly, get rid of some of the lighter debris, as it tends to build up around any nook and cranny that it can. Now we'll flip around to the front, and we'll do the same for the front. Alright, so I don't know what step we're up to, but we're up to cleaning it. So now we want to just go over it with a microfiber cloth. A dry one's fine, because we'll go over it with a wet cloth later, or you can go over it with some kind of wipes, depending on how fussy you want to be, because from this stage it's pretty straightforward. Putting it back together is not really that difficult either, so I hope this video comes in handy for whoever's watching, because I have been meaning to make this video for a while in case anyone needs help how to clean or service their fan like this, and I'm making the video just to help people. Alright, so we're going to check the amount of grease that's left as well, because sometimes it can dry pretty hard. It's in here, and I'll teach you how to pull that apart and check. I may replace it depending on if how much is there and how black it's gone and stuff, because I think this is a bit of a higher hour unit fan, therefore it's going to be a bit worn down, so it may need additional grease. So we'll have a look. It's pretty easy to replace the grease anyway. Okay, now where I've removed most of the dust, you may want to grab a cotton swab and brush in there, but that's really up to personal use if you really want to, because, well, it doesn't really matter as long as it's not really gummed up, which it's not, so that's personal choice, that one. Now we're going to take off the front bit. So there's 3 black screws holding on the brown plastic. We're going to undo all 3 of them. Okay, now I have removed all 3 screws. We can just gently pull it off. And yeah, the grease has gone quite black and there's not much left. So we're going to re-grease it and clean it up. So we want to first check the gears to make sure they're not stripped. And we want to remember the way they go. So the smallest gear will go on first, and then the larger gear. And then towards the end, the bigger gear. However, it does not matter which way this goes back onto there. So what we want to do now is remove all of that old yucky grease. And we're going to take the gears off, all of which do come off. Alright, there we go. Now, as you can see, it's not really looking that good. We've got access to the front bearing as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove all of that yucky, grimy stuff, because chances are that has gone into the front bearing and it's making it a bit slow. So what we're going to do is we're going to wipe all that off. Okay, the gears are successfully, most of the grease has been removed, because there was that little on here that it didn't take much. All I had to do was just use a wet cloth. Although that one I need to do a bit more. So we're going to get the new grease now, and we're going to put that on there. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Alright, we're back with the grease. I'm using King Chrome general purpose grease, which I've been using in fans for quite a long time. It works, although the grease in here is decently old. So what we want to do is we're going to first put it on this shaft that's here, because this shaft, we don't want to wear it out. We actually want to have some grease in it. So as we do it, I'm going to take each gear, plop it on, and then put some grease on it, and then so on. So I'm going to show that just so you can watch, and then I won't show the other one because it's the same as this. And once you've turned it on and run it for a bit, the grease will spread evenly anyway. This is just to prevent the gears from stripping later in the future, because there's no grease, there's nothing for it to grab. So over time they will wear down and break, and that's how you have problems with the fan. As long as you don't flood it, and if you need to spin it around, all you can do is just spin the shaft, because these fans are so well designed and thought through, just so simplistically built, that it's all one component, really. Mistral was the first to make the box fan, apparently, here in Australia, which is really cool. And they did a good job of it, besides their GA16-70s, because they cheaped out and used faulty components and non-flammable plastics, which is just polystyrene. I'm going to go over that in another video, because this fan is entirely safe to run. There is no recall or anything. At the time of these being made, it was under a different company. And then the slimlines as well, they were under a different company who made those. So there's no real risk involved, although I do advise to be cautious with the fans. But not all of their models were recalled, in fact. Alright, so now I have greased that. It looks a little messy, but that's okay. So now I'm going to move on to the front cap. So what we want to do is we just want to grab some grease and just chuck it around the outside, because it rotates around. Although I probably should have removed all the original black grease, but it's okay. It's dried hard on there, so it should be fine. So what you want to do is go all the way around. Okay, now I've greased it. So now what we're going to do is just plop this back in there, lift that up, and if it will play nicely, because there we go. Now we're going to prop this back on, and then we're going to wipe it down. Now I have put it back together and just wiped it. It does not matter which way the brown bit goes back on, so like I could twist that 360 degrees and or 90 degrees, it doesn't really matter, because as long as the screws line up with the hole, it doesn't matter. So there's no wrong way to put that back on. So now we're going to focus on the back of the fan. It's a little stiff, although these things don't tend to free up as much as they probably should. So now what you want to do is get some oil first. Now what we want to do, well, I think I'm running out of oil, so just be careful not to waste it. We're going to put some on this end of the shaft. We're also going to gently squeeze it down in there, although we covered the windings a little bit. But oil is non-conductive, so it's not going to short against anything, so it doesn't really matter. If we want to, we can gently go over it to get rid of some of it. However, that was to catch the other side of the bearing rather than take the whole motor apart, because taking the motor apart is a bit more of an annoyance if we don't have to. But if we have to, we can do that. I'm gonna just put some more on the shaft because it's taken most of all of the oil that I gave it. You can also slightly push the shaft back in a bit, which just allows the oil to push through a bit more. You can also do that while it's spinning. We just want to wear it into every little bit we can, even though it will wear in when we turn the fan on. And now I'm going to gently clean in here. Do not wreck any of the windings, be very gentle, because if you wreck them, then you'll have to get the whole thing rewound because the motor won't work properly. That bit's bugging me, so here we go. Okay, I've successfully wiped all the inside of it, most of it anyway. I'll go over it again before I put it back together, but I do want to focus on the other components. We're back after lunch. That's why it's nice and sunny now. I'm sitting out in the sun, and I didn't even realise. Either way, the bearings, these don't really tend to free up that much, so that's probably the best you'll get out of it. However, now we're going to start cleaning up all the pieces, and then we're going to put it back together. Now we're just going to take this onto the lawn, give it a quick screw it down with some water to get rid of any loose muck in there. Make sure the screw's not in, or the pin, when you're doing it, just so you don't lose it. We'll do this side, it's pretty yellowed. That's okay. Just make sure you clean it up nicely in all the vents. You'll see this, there was some dust down there. We should be able to wipe that off after. That will do. Now the louver. These are quite difficult to clean. Can be quite annoying to clean as well. And then we go onto the back cover, although I'm going to be careful around that because I want to keep that sticker intact. Now I'm reassembling it to put the pin back in, and we aligned it correctly. Sometimes it sticks out a little bit further, but that's okay. Now we're going to put the screw back in. And we're going to tighten it up. The best way to tighten it is to spin the blade in the opposite direction while holding the screwdriver still. There we go, till it's tightened. There we go. There's our freshly lubricated bearings. Quite nice. Now we're going to put the back cage back on. If we can. Okay, so you want to align the tabs in the hole. There's 3 holes, and once you've got them lined up, maybe we're gonna have a bit of fun with this. Yeah, once it's aligned, get in. Maybe a bit of a pain. There we go. Now that's back together. Now put the screws in. Now that our screws are back in, it's decently clean. It's not the best, but I did just make this video mostly to showcase, not really to spend too much time on it. Now we're going to realign the front. So we're gonna, it doesn't matter which notch goes in where, so we're gonna align that up like so. Just wiggle it on there a little bit like that. Grab that thing back. Place that in there like so. And then we're going to tighten it up. There we go. Now we pull that out to engage it. Now let's test the fan. Now for the moment of truth, we will test the fan. Oh, it might help if I plug it in. Alright, it's plugged in. You will hear a little bit of the crunchy stuff from the front louver for a little bit because the grease will work its way around to where it wants to be. But overall, very quiet. Very silent. Medium. And then we go high. Oops. And then we'll turn it off and watch this video. There we have it. That's really good. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope you found this video useful in one way or another. If you did, please be sure to like and consider subscribing, because I will post more tutorial videos in the near future. Anyway, thank you for watching.